Aloha, everyone. Aloha. Ghosts of Hawaii. You know who. I'm your host, Obaki Hunter. I swear, Rini over here she's gonna break a record as being the first person to pop into my live streams, which, by the way, I don't mind at all. Rini, how are you doing? Good evening. Well, everyone, it's been quite a 24-hour period of time for me. What happened took place on Friday. Aloha, Obaki and everyone. Weilani, thank you for being here. Thank you, Rini. You're a diehard faithful fan. What happened to me happened on Friday. And it is only added on to this very large plate of experiences that I have involving the paranormal. I wasn't even thinking about the paranormal. I wasn't thinking about ghosts or anything else. I was kind of thinking that, hey, I would have a nice Friday. Friday is one of my favorite days of the week. Thank you for the likes, everyone. Mahalo. Those likes make a big difference in whether or not I decide to continue doing the crazy things that I do with ghosts and everything else that are out there in the world. And as you can hear, I have the added audience for at least another minute or two of the other side. Necrophonic is running in the background. Let's see who else is here this evening. Kuhao, good to see you. Kaleni Reyes, good to see you. Mobile High, thank you so much to you as well, Rini. So the audience is situated. We have at least 5 people listening in right now. So I will begin what happened that Friday. I was laying down, relaxing, just minding my own business, when all of a sudden I felt like this tremor. And that's what it was at first, just this shaking, like a slight shaking. But it was enough to make the bed move. Now, I live on an island where Kuhal probably knows this already. Now, he does know this, that this was about, oh my God, maybe about 14, 15 years ago, around that time period. The Big Island had an earthquake. And I was at home, and I was on my computer, and all of a sudden the room shook. I looked up, the ceiling fan started to sway and go crazy, absolutely crazy. And yeah, I was scared. The lights went out. Of course, the power was gone, and it was like that for a while. We had experienced a earthquake on the Richter scale of 5 point something. I would have to look that up, and I don't feel like looking it up right now, considering what happened to me. So I was shook up. I didn't know what to think, except, well, maybe we're experiencing another earthquake. And not long after that, there was another shake. This time a little bit more than the first one. Enough to make me kind of sit up and go, what in the hell is going on? And then not long after that, there was a third one. But what was weird about the third one was that not only did the bed shake, I saw the atmosphere shake. Explain that to me, because I was on Google earlier and they were saying it could be a whole bunch of things. And of course, Google has a way of doing that. Everything from physical problems that you may be having to earthquake phobia, where people are afraid of earthquakes after one has happened. And yes, even the paranormal. So tonight, everyone, welcome again to Ghosts of Hawaii. And we will talk about what happened and what it could possibly have been. 1 hour of talking about this. 1 hour of you and me with this talk in the dark. By the way, if you've been enjoying this or you're new, please share it to other people. Like and subscribe, as they say. Ring my bell. I would like that. Because again, it keeps me coming back, talking to you here and other locations. If you've been following this channel for a while, you know that we go to places where spirits dwell. I'm still, pardon the pun, I'm still a bit shook up because after that, I went out and I went on social media. I said, "Hey, did anyone feel that? Did anyone feel that shake that happened?" Nobody did. Not a single person felt that. So what I'm thinking right now, right before I came on here to talk to all of you, as we sit here in the dark and we talk about ghosts and just weird stuff, like my bed and room shaking, seeing the atmosphere shake itself, something a bit odd and new, or maybe not so new. Nobody felt it. I have to go back and say that. Nobody felt it at all. People were chiming in and giving me all kinds of reasons as to why I had experienced what I had experienced. There were good reasons behind it. I don't mind people chiming in and telling me, "Well, I didn't feel it, but it could be this, it could be that, could be a number of other things." I don't mind people telling me that. But then, like I said, right before I came on, I should just say it completely now, excuse me. Right before I came on, I started thinking about synchronicity. I started thinking about the night when I was out with my friends and we heard something flying in the sky above us, huge wings flapping. Which was scary. No, it might have been the same one, Kalina. It might have been. That was scary. Huge wings flapping in the air, right? We're trying to figure things out, and you know what? In the paranormal, you're just rolling dice constantly. You know, seeing what you get as a result, right? Each time you roll that dice. We're trying to figure out what that noise is, the huge wings that are flapping above us. And then the synchronicity that not long after that, my friend is in a cemetery not far away from this location where we heard these wings flapping in the sky. And she takes a photo of this huge, dark entity. It looked like it had devil wings. At the cemetery at night in the sky, not far from where we had had our encounter. And then I do a show. About a haunted house in Kalama Valley. One of the scariest things I've ever done as far as interviews go. And during the course of that interview where all these scary things are happening, spooky stuff, yeah? This person tells me, "Oh, well, one night as I was going home, There was something flying above us. You could hear the wings flapping. Interesting how all of this came together right before I decided to sign on and talk to all of you out there about this situation that I just went through. Synchronicity. One thing, as that old song goes, leads to another, and then another. Like the time we're going home at night, late at night, there's four of us in the car, and we start talking about taking pork over the pulley. And the people in the back of the car are kind of amused about it, talking about, oh, don't bring pork over the pulley. You know what's going to happen? Your car is going to stop. And for those who live here, we really respect that. We don't take it lightly. We don't take it lightly at all. Troy Fujimoto is here. Aloha, good evening to you, Troy. Aloha, amazing how the earth shook and then there was an earthquake later. Again, synchronicity, ladies and gents. Synchronicity. We're driving up the old pulley. We start talking about pork and the significance of it. Don't take it over the pulley with you. Your car will stop. So what do? Because we're young and stupid. We turn down Old Pulley Drive. And as we're driving down Old Pulley Drive, the car starts to stop. The people in the back don't find it funny anymore about this subject matter. I tell them, because they're saying, hey, stop messing around with the car. I said, hey, I'm looking at the driver right now. No one's messing with the car. And though these are things I may have mentioned in the past, they are worth mentioning again when it connects to a larger picture. And the car kept dying in the dark as we were going down that road, trying to keep it going until we reach that flashing light by Jackass Ginger. And the car goes rum boom 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 and starts up again. Synchronicity. One thing leads to another and another. Let's go back to the chat. Let's see what people are saying here. Wait, Lonnie says, I've had that happen to me. Turned out it wasn't an earthquake at all. It usually happens right before I'm supposed to do something or something I'm supposed to do. Was told Spirit was trying to get my attention and to listen. Kalina says, my son saw that flying thing at where? Alai Cemetery above Honolii in Hilo. You're in Hilo. You're on the Big Island. Aloha, Hilo. How's everything going over there this evening? I believe you. There are things that fly in the sky, and sometimes we think it's all makua. Could be the owl flying at night. And then it's something else entirely different. So, I did try to put all the pieces together. Really, truly did. And wasn't able to at first. And then I started thinking about those who chose or choose to remain. The show that we just recently did. So if you've been following this channel, then you're kind of like in step with what I'm going to be saying next. So during the course of that interview, which was only a few days ago, there was this loud thud that I heard and my guest heard. We're in a basement, so the acoustics are pretty good. We heard it, but I listened to the video. It didn't come out. That doesn't surprise me. Weird things happen when you talk about ghosts. That's the first thing. The second thing was when I was invited to come back and visit the same place, but this time it was for a holiday function. And I did bring this up. We did talk about this. And I did go there, and it was a very interesting night. During the course of the night, I got a very spooky photo. I was taking pictures of the dining room where they were having a holiday event. And in the course of taking pictures in a well-lit room, of course, in this particular case, I was using my full spectrum camera, but it was in a well-lit room. One of the pictures turned into full spectrum. Then the next photo went back to normal. When I blew the photo up because the screen was too small and I looked at it on my tablet, what was there was what looked like a face tilted to the right with a hand above it going towards the camera, which is interesting because there's a switch on that camera that can turn on full spectrum. How it made the entire room into full spectrum is as much a mystery as a face tilted to the side reaching towards my camera in that full spectrum. Was there some kind of manipulation going on with that? I'm tending to think right now that that possibility is real. And then not long after that, I was downstairs. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but I'm sitting near the door, the entryway. It's just one door going into one room, entrance and exit, whatever you want to call it. Sitting right next to the door, and I hear something dragged across the room. Literally, like something really heavy. And I don't want to paint a picture for any of you of what that could possibly have been. I don't want to try and think about what was being dragged across the floor. I really don't. Because it wasn't a nice sound. I do know that I went and I peeked outside of the doorway into the main hallway. And across from me, there's an elevator. And the elevator starts to close by itself. I don't really see anyone when the elevator closes. Now, here's the thing that none of you knew, but I'm sharing with you now, especially for you that follow my channel. A few nights ago, I also did a live stream, Spirit Box, at the location of a cold case murder. And doing that live stream, Carol, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Doing that live stream, something shook the car that we were in. And I mean, it shook the car because I stopped and I said, hey, what the hell? You know, something along those lines. And so did my friend who invited me to that place that is highly active, where there were also voices talking right around the time something was being dragged across the floor. This was all after that, all in the same night. We did this. The more I think about it, the more I feel a little bit freaked out, if a bit more than freaked out. Because what are we talking about here? If we were to hit the pause button, thank you for the like. Always appreciate likes. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the pause button there for a second. The van shook. What happened in my room? The bed shook over and over again. By the time the third time that happened, you could see everything around. You could try to explain to me that you can see the actual atmosphere shaking, like a real full on rolling in earthquake. I can't. I can't figure that part out. But can I tell you that it was real and that it happened? Scaring me enough to come back on here and do a live stream and talk to you about weird things like that. Yeah. So after after that earthquake or spirit quake or whatever it was, I was again invited to go to a traditional ceremony. And lo and behold, it's at another haunted location. Now, in this situation, I cannot find synchronicity. I cannot find a real and valid connection. But I can tell you that later on, after we were done, and we had gone out and had a bite to eat, and we had just dropped my friend off home, and that about a minute after that, as we were driving away, we could still hear his voice in the back seat. His voice. I heard it at least. The driver didn't hear it, so let me correct myself. Driver didn't hear it. I heard my friend's voice in the back seat. It was so disconcerting to me and to the driver that she immediately pulled over to the side of the road. The first thing I said is, "Hey, do you have any holy water, salt, or anything on you at all?" And so, luckily enough, she did have some. Let's see what Wilani is saying. I believe it happened. I believed it happened. Do you think maybe something followed you? Maybe to tell you something? You know, I think it's possible. Because, so I'm going to put everything on pause here. The last thing we were talking about was the holy water. So as an example, when you go out and you explore, I always call it ghosting. I never call it ghost hunting. I think that's the most stupidest thing ever created as far as connecting it to the paranormal. You cannot hunt ghosts. That's a dumb thing to say. I say my name is Obaki Hunter, but it's just as a reference to the paranormal and what people connect to. I don't believe it at all. I don't believe that I can hunt ghosts. As a matter of fact, Obaki doesn't mean ghosts. It means strange things and other stuff in Japanese, but also in Hawaii, we call spirits Obake. The late Glenn Grant referenced things with the paranormal as being Obaki as well, to some degree, in a way. In a way. But when you go out and you do these things, when you go out, and I call it ghosting, at the end of the night, you usually say a prayer. When you're done with a spirit box, say a prayer. And just because you do say a prayer, it's the best thing you can do. It's the best thing you can do. Trust me, that's the best of the best. Say a prayer. Ask for whatever is around you to remain and stay. The only thing I can tell you about that, and oh, thank you for the likes again, thank you. The only thing I can tell you about that is, do they actually always listen to you? Do spirits obey when at the end of a night of visiting a haunted place, you tell them to remain? You say the St. Michael and everything. I believe it's a powerful prayer. Do they always stay, or do they follow you home? One night I was out with my friend Mace, and we were up at Tantalus, and we were driving around. And at the end of the night, Mace is taking me back home. And as he's driving, he says, "You know what? I'm going to do what I've been taught to do when it comes to ghosts." So instead of taking me straight home, he drives around, takes me to all kind of different locations. And I forgot about this, but my friend Mace reminded me. He said, "What we're doing right now is that if there is a ghost following us, we're going to try and shake it off our trail. So that's why I have even heard that after funerals, you're not supposed to go directly home. Go somewhere else. Because it is also said that spirits doing a 7 day period of time, maybe a little bit longer, will stay earthbound. And that after their funeral, they will follow as far as the funeral is concerned and go no further because they have to confront the fact that they are no longer with us, that they themselves have become ghosts. So it is said that after a funeral, you should not go home right away. I'm just telling you what has been said. I'm not saying that, hey, everybody out there, go ahead and follow that advice. But hey, you know what? I think it's something to take into consideration. So, again, could it have been something or someone that followed me home? Ghosts have done that in the past. They have literally shook me to the core. There was a situation where there was a Japanese dog demon that was staying at the top of an old building and then afterwards started to follow us around for a while. My bad, right? Isn't that what we say? My bad, dog demon, for following me around. No mockery involved. I have a picture of the thing. I may show it to you folks one day. Called an inugami. But do things follow you? Yeah, they do. They really honestly follow you around. Let me see what else is being said out there in the audience. Kuhal, when I heard shaking, it happened to have been the drums of the night marchers that shook the heiau down Kauai, what, Kauaiha? Kauai, or on the Big Island 9 years ago. I felt that very deeply where I was standing. Speaking of that, before I read what Troy Fujimoto said, the night that we were with this person that was definitely hard head, Popakiki, I think it's called in Hawaiian. Hard head. No like listen is what we say. No like listen to what everyone says you should not do. No like listen at all. We're at a very well-known place and he busted out equipment, but it was also very Hawaiian. And we said you shouldn't do that. Long story short, as we were leaving, as a friend of mine who is very sensitive to spirits said, hey, they're escorting us now. They're saying that we should leave. Put away your equipment. As we were walking down the path, the ground shook underneath us, just like my bed. Now, am I saying is that a night marcher scenario? No. Am I trying to say synchronicity could be involved and something could have followed me home? Yes. Does a lot of it seem like it's connected to that live stream that I did? Yeah. Honestly, I do. Because there was that voice that sounded like my friend, going back to when I asked my friend to take out the holy water, that was talking in the back seat not more than a minute after we had dropped him off. And here's the thing. There's a spirit or spirits at that building where we encountered the thud in the basement, the sound of something being dragged across the floor in the hallway, the car being shook. There are these voices that mimic people. Isn't that one way to really start putting those pieces together? So what do you do? Do you just let it go? I try not to. There was another time when we were out, and the one thing you don't do in Hawaii, you don't whistle at night at all. From dusk till dawn, do not whistle while wandering around for any reason at all. So I took a group of people on a ghost tour. And as we're walking down this trail, this woman starts to whistle. And I turn around and I tell her, don't do that. And I was really stern. Do not whistle. Do not. Do not draw attention to whoever's out there, because that's exactly what you're doing. Just like when you start doing things like you listening to me on YouTube and I'm telling you these things, spirits listen. I honestly believe that I can put myself at risk talking about these things to you. But do I feel that the message is important enough to give to you? Do I feel that I do show enough respect to these type of situations? Yes, I do. But later on after that, we were at another place during the tour, and all of a sudden, from the dark, there was this loud, piercing whistle, followed by a growl. One thing leads to another. Insofar as what happened afterwards, in case you are curious, those that are listening to this program this evening, we did use holy water and we did pray. And I did say to whoever it was that was talking in the back seat, sounding like my friend, late at night, I said, hey, you have to go. You have to leave. I know the water works, but that doesn't mean that you find a way to follow. Could it have been something else that may have happened? Because man, when I've gone out there, I have seen crazy stuff. I have seen things that does not fit into any one particular category. Recently, I was looking at doing shows about UFOs because I have actually had communication scenarios with them, at least one vivid one in the past. Could it have been that? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Should I stop? Should I stop doing what I'm doing now? Because something followed me, and even right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm feeling that there could be something around. Could be. I also have a few haunted dolls in my house. Things have happened with that as well in the past, especially with Sally. Sally has been a very restless spirit. And for a while there, I was thinking to myself, should I try to get some of these dolls off the eBay marketplace? Because a lot of people are just curious about these things. Feel free to look up eBay and dolls and everything on YouTube and see all the crazy results that have happened. That was a foolish thing. That was not me being wise at all. Could it have been Sally? Could it have been my other doll, Melissa? Melissa has made people think about haunted dolls. Because Melissa, when you see her in person, her eyes move. They'll actually follow you. If you move to the right, Melissa's eyes will follow you to the right. If you move to the left, Melissa's eyes will follow you to the left. If you stand completely still, her eyes will stop and look directly at you. Could it have been her? With these two dolls, there have been cases of things happening in the house, weird things. Also, the background of the dolls have been very disturbing as well. Melissa likes to move around at night and she'll make noise. The other one generates a shadow entity that could be the spirit of the doll itself. But crazy things happened. Really crazy things. So I literally have to stop. I have to say, is it the entities from that interview? Or, like was said, is something following me around, maybe from before? Is it the dolls? Tell you the truth, I was kind of wondering if I should take a vacation and say, hey, nothing else for now. Because when your bed does stuff like that, and it reminds you of all these other things, and then you start putting all these pieces together, and I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, should I do more interviews at haunted locations? So, in case you're wondering what my answer is to all of this, my answer is I will continue to do them because I've gotten so far into all of this. And like I said, whenever you do a blessing at the end of the night, it's the best thing you can do when confronting ghosts. It's the best thing. That's supposed to be your fail safe. But I got to keep it real, guys. I'm not going to say that it always works or that these spirits don't try to figure something else out. I can't say that at all. At one point, when I was doing Ghosts of Hawaii years ago, I had to say, is my house haunted? Is it haunted? Because I had weird things happen to the live stream. Really weird things. If you've been following me for years, you know the weird things. You know all the weird things that were happening while I was doing a live stream. What I'm presenting to you here tonight, and why I call it Was It a Ghost, is because it's a question that will remain a question. And at times you will hear people that do these shows say, hey, I've been a little bit too far and look at what happened to me. All I can try to do is be as safe as I can. And I know people like the interviews. Thank you for liking the interviews. I will continue to do the interviews. I will continue to go to places. I'm even thinking of expanding different locations for different things. I know that people want me to do the cold case. They want me to continue to do the cold case at the scene of a murder. They want me to see if is there anything else that could happen? Is there a spirit of a murdered girl that needs to speak and let us know what happened to her? I think that that's possible. And I know that there'll be a part two. And I know that there are people that are curious enough to want to see if there's anything else that goes on with that. But look at the stuff that happens. The night I was doing a spirit box, and that thing said while I was putting away my equipment, while my friend was standing near the spirit box, it was saying things about demons and everything else, and it was laughing. This is all real. I mean, I honestly wish I had the camera rolling, right? But this is in a place where there's no Wi-Fi signals or anything at all. But there was a signal that was strong enough to go through the spirit box and start talking about demons and the devil and laughing. We're not always talking to spirits. We're talking to very dark scenarios that are just waiting to unfold. There was even a point in time where I said, "Is it really ghosts?" I'm going to share this thought with you. I said, "Is it really ghosts of Hawaii?" I know that there are ghosts from Hawaii. I know that there's many different types. We've encountered them. We've photographed them. We've heard them in graveyards and other locations. We've seen the spirits affect people. We've seen spirits possess people. I've been possessed. I've seen the crazy, and the crazy has tried to contact me. So that's why with this particular live stream, I have to kind of like hit that pause button and say, was it a ghost? Was it something else? I know why I came into this field. Years ago, when something started talking to me at my window at night, came into the house, called out my name, and as I tried to run away as a young boy, grabbed my legs, and the only thing I can actually give you as a description, it was like a vice grip holding my legs, and I was screaming. And that was the beginning of it. Everything else that followed up to this point. Isn't it interesting how time does what it does and the way it feels fit to do so? I'm glad that you stuck around, whether you watch this now or even later on. Because by me being here in the dark with all of you, like they used to do in the old days, sit around, talk story, sit on the porch, turn off the lights, listen to the night, talk about it. Be brave, hope for the best when you do so. I'm glad that you're here with me in the dark, because I think by me expressing myself about this, because like I said, no pun intended, this really did shake me up. I'm sitting on this bed where everything happened. I have my haunted dolls in this house. I do. Of course, you're going to probably say, well, some of you will listen to this and say, oh, crazy guy. I'm not denying that there's not crazy involved with any of this. Best to be like you. I wish I was you, listening to somebody talking in the dark or watching something on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and just being the person in the audience. But no, I choose to do the opposite. I'm the one talking to the audience about these things. And again, thank you for the likes, because your likes and you listening helps me out. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Okay, that's not funny. Trust me, I don't believe in trying to get you folks approval, but over whatever I'm talking about and so on. I do like the likes. Trust me, keeps me coming back. But just now in the corner of my room, I heard something, and it was a sucking sound. Some people might automatically say, "Oh, gecko" or something like that. No, that's not a gecko. It sounded like someone putting their lips together and making a sucking sound. Hey, whoever you are, trust me, as soon as I'm done with this live stream, I do have holy water. I have blessed objects from a church. I will bring them out. And the one thing that I will do is what I always do when I feel like something wants to follow me home. And it gets to this point. I can only go so far with this kind of stuff, with these ghosts and what they do. I will pray you away. I will use holy water. I will do what I feel helps me, but I will do it. So for the rest of this live stream, whoever you were in the dark that made that sound, Holy Pilikia, okay? I don't want no problem at all. Okay? Because if you wake me up late at night or you make my bed shake again, we will have a problem. We will have a difference of opinion, and I will say what I have to. As a matter of fact, there is a show coming up for those of you that are interested where we will be talking about protection. Not only spiritual protection using holy water and such and salt and prayers, but your own personal perception, which may help you in case these type of scenarios happen to you as well. That was crazy. I don't know if it's going to show up in the video. Sometimes I'm doing stuff and I hear things like at Pearl City, and people will say, I heard that. I'm not saying that you will, but this is the paranormal. Things like this do happen. And yeah, I think that soon I will be winding this all up. But that scared the hell out of me. That really did. It almost sounded like it was something very disturbed. So you get a bonus tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Since that triggered a memory, I've been wanting to do a show about EVPs for a while, and we may do one. And you'll probably hear this during the course of that and other EVPs that happened. But one night, long time ago, when I was starting off in the paranormal, I was outside taking a stroll around a cemetery. And then a friend of mine joined me. He asked me for a cigarette as we walked into the older part of this cemetery. And as I gave him the cigarette, shadows appeared on the ground. Shadows appeared. And then there was like someone laughing. And that laugh was really, really scary. I often use that word because I don't try to mince things up, yeah? It was spooky. Whatever word you can think of for spooky, that's what it was. And it was there. Just this laughter. And I'm new to all of this. And I have my tape recorder running. We start walking around the cemetery, and voices started to respond to us during our conversation. And at one point, there was this voice, and I want you to keep this in mind. These EVPs were almost 10 minutes long. 10 minutes. 10 minutes of ghosts talking, or whoever the hell they were. Things telling us, oh, don't go down by the river, which was not far away, by the way. Don't go down by the river. There was one that said they were Marie, but it was a male voice. Sure enough, not long after that, there was a grave we found that was Marie. There was a little girl after that talking, and the grave where it said Marie was that of a little girl. But the most disturbing thing, which is why I'm very, very startled, is that there was a voice Out of all of these EVPs, all of these voices saying different things, even hissing like an animal, out of all of these things, and yes, some of these things bear repeating. When I do the EVP show, we'll talk about all kind of crazy EVPs and this as well. But there was this voice, and this voice in the dark was going like, and that happened right when I tripped over something that I don't know what the hell I tripped over in this cemetery. And then you hear that. Just, I can't even do it, man. I'm trying. I'm really trying. I'm trying to, give you an idea of how disturbed, how truly disturbed this spirit sounded. This is the only time I actually heard something like that. That it just sounded like it was crazy. That it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure it knew I was recording it. It may have known, but it wasn't talking. Instead, it made that very disturbed sound. And what happened just now? I heard something in the corner of my room that transported me back to that moment. Something very disturbing in the dark with me. In closing, let me say this. After the thing that happened to me, where that voice was at my window, then it was in my house, and then it was calling out to me, then it grabbed my legs, and then what happened was in that house as a child, it started following me around the house. After all of that was done, after we did the blessings and everything else involved with that, and all the other crazy things, I started to feel like there was something that was following me around. So I happened to, along this journey, meet a few people that are very powerful psychics. And so I told one of them, I said, hey, you know what? What I feel is going on is there was a spirit that attached itself to me. And trust me, I went through a lot of brouhaha in the paranormal community. People saying, oh, he's got a spirit attached to him. Well, let me tell you, I've talked to some people. I know pretty damn well that that possibility exists, not just me. I'm not exclusive to this phenomenon. Do I believe it happened? Yes, it did. And I just, I said, well, I think it's a man. And so I get a text message one night from the person, the psychic, and they said, this person, huh? And they showed me a picture of an old man. It was an old man. I didn't really talk about it much, that there was an old man following me around. And this is from a place where that I grew up was an insane asylum. Do with that what you want, ladies and gentlemen, along with everything else. Again, this is just me having these conversations with all of you, sharing with you 1 hour or thereabout. Whew. Yeah, I did think about stopping for a while, but I'm going to continue. Coming up, we are going to be going to some very interesting locations. Things that people don't normally do here. Not just on YouTube, here in Hawaii, as far as locations are concerned. Yes, they will involve spirit boxes. It's the most direct way to do things at times. There'll be other things I'm sure that'll come up. We'll be having interviews as well. So look forward to those. Also, I'll be doing a show at some point with animals and the paranormal. If you have pets at home and they have acted strange to you, and you have thought maybe, are they seeing something? And does it have to do with the paranormal? We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about their place in Hawaiian culture. We'll be talking about aumakuas and such as well. I've had a few experiences, and I'll be happy to share those with you, along with my thoughts, and maybe a guest that'll chime in. I'm pretty sure I can get someone to show up and say, "Yeah, my dog or my cat, whatever it is, did experience something," and I'm pretty sure it was a ghost. Or some people are living in a place where there are spirits, and your animal, your pet, is reacting to it. That's coming up as well. Shows on sacred grounds and other things. And yes, we will be going back to doing investigations. I have one scheduled for the later part of December, and if all goes well, we will return to the place where we heard a scream. And yeah, it was blood curdling. I didn't expect, I don't think there's nice screams. It'll be near that location. We're going to be doing an investigation there and other things coming up that'll happen in 2024. For those of you that like these type of things, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. Troy Fujimoto said, there might have been a traumatic event that needed some light shed to bring it to the surface and resolution. Yes, I believe so. Kohal said, it wasn't the March of Chiefs and Gods. It was my Aumakua who beat the drums that shook the earth. They were warrior healers. Hi Skippy says hello, and Hi Skippy knows what I'm talking about. Uliani, oh, sorry. I'm a bit shook up. Uilani says, yes, prayers are most important always, but I've learned not always they mean harm and they follow. I've helped a lot of them that really wanted to be crossed over and for other reasons also. I understand we have crossed spirits ourselves. Carol A says, Kuhio, what? I mean, oh, that's Kuhao. What is an Aumakua? Troy says shape-shifting and voice emulation are real, probably designed to obscure and mislead. Yeah, I believe so. That's why there are spirits that call out in the night and they say your name. Carol said hi to Hi Skippy. Troy says some of these things are entities who are confused about what happened and doubting they passed. Some are refusing to cross over, and some are energy that was never living, but from another realm. Hi Skippy says, hi Carol. Kohal says, great show tonight, Obaki. Thank you, my friend. You're welcome. Kalina Rees says, what did the person in the back seat say? The person in the back seat was talking. It was like, how do I describe it to you? It was like playing a recording. Like say you were in the back seat of the car, right? And there was a recording device and you left the car and the recording was played back and was being played. Something along those lines. It was like that. It was like a recording of a voice in the back seat. That's the best way I can describe that to you. That's the best thing I could say. Let's see. Continuing on here. Carol says, Obaki never had a bed shake, but I have had a bed skirt breathe at us. It was a warning of prowler in the neighborhood. Interesting. It's good to have these little tidbits of experiences from everyone out there. Jessica Mink says, spooky stuff. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Trust me, it brings me back. It always brings me back that someone actually appreciates this. Obaki, your talks in the dark feel exactly like Talking Story. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. And Jessica Ming says no Pilikia, which is true. Demon or evil spirit, possibly. Carol, it could be that. Kohal says, thank you, Obaki, for sharing these stories tonight. Let's all heal together and make things right for all of Hawaii. That's true. Carol A, on upcoming show on protections. Really, really looking forward to hearing that. And I'm working that one out. And we'll see how it translates. 10-minute EVPs. Yeah, that was crazy, Carol. It was remarkable. Kuhal says, see you again for the next Talk in the Dark session. Take care. You take care as well, Kuhal. Carol says, Obaki, I believe a spirit followed you. I had a spirit follow me for years. Deep peace on you. And to you as well, Carol. Um, Carol says, Kuhal, that's a very worthy endeavor. I'm going to try my best with that. Because the whole thing about protection, it really comes down to living your life, um, and trying to keep that as possible, much as possible, away from the veil into another source, but yet still keeping it very spiritual. Do a closing prayer. Mahalo. Mahalo. Thank you. Just like Jessica said, Ulani says, Mahalo. Thank you for sharing. Sorry, again, I am pretty shook up. Polyarcana. Hello, Obaki. How does one discover their Al Makua? The best thing to discover your Al Makua, as far as I'm concerned, though I am not of a Hawaiian descent, is to talk to your family about it. Talk to them, especially if you are Hawaiian. Talk to them about it and see what they have to say about who your Al Makua could possibly be. There are several to look at, quite a few actually, and that's how you would do that. And we have reached 1 hour, exactly 1 hour into this conversation. So besides all these other things, like and subscribe to my channel if you like the surprises that I pull on everyone, because I do that and I like doing that. I like to just come out of nowhere and say, hey, hi, what's going on? And I'll share something with you. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about Ghosts of Hawaii. As I sit here and wonder, is it really just ghosts? Was it a ghost? I think part of not knowing is what really fascinates us. We just can't quite nail it. A lot of people think they can. Trust me, we never will. Death is a mystery. Even the strongest people who do this work is like looking through a keyhole and seeing part of an answer. And I say that because I have met some very extremely powerful ones and what they have shared. Undaunted. Hi, are you new? Nice to meet you. Thank you, Obaki. You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. I needed this as much as, people find interest in this. I needed this. So thank you for being interested in hearing me express myself, right? Because, again, I'm sitting on the bed where everything happened. There was a strange voice behind me. They say in Hawaii not to talk about spirits because they respond and they hear. So before we leave, we will do a prayer. We will do a prayer, a quick prayer. In nome Dei Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Amene, amene, amene. Dear God, Heavenly Father, we ask that you shed light upon the dark in this conversation, and that the people who have come here tonight and in the days to follow that listen to this video may experience your peace. Please watch over us. Please watch over my home. If there are spirits that are lost, like I've always said, when I go to visit such places, let angels come and guide them to your home. Peace be with everyone here. Let no harm come to them. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly hosts, cast them into hell. Cast all evil into hell, who come forth to wander through this world, as I add my own words in. I feel this so important tonight. who wander through the world for the ruin of all souls. Amen. And yes, sometimes I get so startled by these things, I can't even say the Our Father correctly. So I add in my own heart, add in my own words. And I think, what did Carol Jessica says, be a guest on Paranormal Portal again. I was on what, one, two, three times? I need to start listening. That's a great show. For all of you out there, Paranormal Portal, go check them out. Yeah, great stuff with Brent Thomas, and go check it out. Really good show. Uh, I'll reach out. I'll see what's going on with them. But yeah, it's been several years, and if I do the show, if they ask me to do the show, there'll be things to talk about. Definitely. It's been an honor being a guest on their show. It's been an honor talking with all of you this evening. Tune in next time for the scheduled and Don Longbeard, for the scheduled and the unscheduled, right here on Ghosts of Hawaii. Ghosts of Hawaii, your home for a dose of ghosts and something that was talking in the dark while I was talking to you. Until next time, everyone, do take care. And I do mean it when I say pleasant dreams. Stay in the light. It's so much better there. Aloha. Talk to you.